Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearances of the Week. This is Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. We'll be giving you all the first appearances hitting your comic shops today. Now this week we have a pretty light week for you guys. I think only 4 first appearances, 5 honorable mentions, so 9 titles in all to go through. Won't take us long at all, but definitely a couple good books in there to add to your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearances of the week ending May 20th, 2022. First up from DC Comics, Batman Superman World's Finest number 3. This features a first team appearance of the House of G, also the first appearance of the Devil Nezha. As we always say with these DC Comics, whenever they introduce new characters in DC Comics, it really depends on what they do with these characters. If they just stay within this particular title series, the Batman Superman World's Finest series, they might not be all that big of a deal going forward, but if they do break these characters into one of the more tentpole series, like Detective Comics, Action Comics, Batman or Superman, will definitely be a little bit more important going forward, gets a lot more eyes on them, makes them more popular. Also, if DC brings these characters into a small screen or big screen project, it definitely gives these characters a little bit more longevity. So this is one that you may want to pick up the spec on, so pick this one here up if you can. If you can't, put it on your B-list. We do think you have some time on this one. Next up from DC Vertigo, Fables number 151. This is a 12-issue story that continues from where Fables number 150 left off back in 2015. This features the first appearance of a new adversary. Now, Fables definitely has a big collector base, big fan base, so this is one we do think you should probably pick up for your collection. This is also one that features a first appearance of a new character. You know, huge fan base out there for this. Pick this one here up to spec on if you can. If you can't, put it in your B-list, but keep an eye on this one. Next up from Marvel Comics, x-cellent number 3. This features the first appearance of a new x-cellent, at least one depicted on the cover. Now, we always say pick up any first appearances of characters in Marvel Comics. You know, Marvel Disney is still churning out a lot of TV shows, feature films, and streaming series, and you really don't know where these characters may end up. If they bring these characters into any of these small screen or big screen projects or across other title series, you know, these characters will definitely become more important and more popular. So this is one we do think you should pick up the spec on. Go ahead and grab this one. And finally for Marvel Comics, Elektra Black, White, and Blood number 4. Now this is an anthology of stories featuring Kevin Eastman from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He turns Hell's Kitchen into his playground, and the results are as radical as you'd expect. Now this here could very well be a Turtles parody or a cameo crossover into the Marvel Universe. It also features a first appearance of an alternate reality Elektra from Peach Momoko's Demon Days universe. So this is one we do think you should definitely pick up. Kevin Eastman's involved in this, and if the Turtles come over to the Marvel Universe, you definitely want to have their first appearance or their first cameo appearance. Pick this one here up. And now for the honorable mentions. From DC Comics, Duo number 1. This is the reintroduction of the milestone character Zombie under the name Duo. Now, it really depends on what DC does with this character. We mentioned this before. If this character crosses other title series or is introduced on a small screen or big screen project, this may be more important. But right now, this is definitely a speculative bet. Pick this one here up if you can. If you can't, put this one on your B-list. We do think you have some time on this one. Next up from DC Comics, Shadow Warzone number 1. This features the origin of Angel Breaker, a villain with a connection to Ghostmaker. Now, this is the premiere issue of Shadow Warzone. This is a new title series for DC Comics, and this is the origin story of Angel Breaker. So this one here is definitely going to be a speculative bet if you choose to pick this one here up. In our opinion, we think you probably have some time on this one, so put this one here on your B-list for now. Next up from Marvel Comics, Marvel Voices Identity number 1. This is an anthology of stories featuring Asian superheroes. Now, we always say this with these Marvel Voices titles. These are definitely worth picking up for the cover price to spec on. You know, a lot of times they slip in new characters or cameos of new characters, introduce new costumes or new powers into these particular issues. And it's good to have these for the cover price. You don't want to end up paying more later, but this is definitely a speculative bet as well. Pick this one here up if you can. If you can't, put it on your B-list, but keep an eye on it. Next up from Marvel Comics, Savage Avengers number 1. Now this is a new Savage Avengers roster featuring Conan, Deathlock, Daredevil, Black Knight, Weapon H, Anti-Venom, and Cloak and Dagger. Now, there is some rumor about Savage Lands being introduced into the Marvel Universe. If so, that'll bring with it Conan and introduce Conan into the Marvel Universe with the established characters. So this is one we definitely think you should pick up. Savage Avengers getting a lot of attention. A lot of people love this team up, and this is the premiere issue of this new Savage Avengers team. Go ahead and grab this one here if you can. And finally from Marvel Comics, Star Wars Dr. Aphra number 20. This features a possible origin of the Spark Eternal. Now, we always mention this when there's a possible origin or the possible first appearance. These are ones you want to definitely do a little bit more research on to make sure this is the actual origin before you pick it up. If this is the origin of the Spark Eternal, this is one that you may want to pick up for your collection. These Marvel Star Wars titles, huge collector base, huge fan base out there for these. The Star Wars franchise is definitely here to stay, so do a little bit more research on this one. If it is the origin, pick it up. If not, put it on your B-list, keep an eye on it. So there you have the 9 titles that we have for you guys this week. Definitely a couple good books in there to add to your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.